Today we're going to walk you through a deal on a property which we sourced to a buyer for £160,000 and it generates £6,450 per year in rent.
Now, this deal might not blow you away. The numbers might not be out of this world, jaw-dropping, but it's a very realistic deal. So that's why we wanted to share it. It's got an ROI of around 12%, but a lot of you guys might be in a position to actually do a deal like this.
Exactly. And that's what makes it super exciting, is that many of you watching this will probably be able to do this type of deal.
And if you're new here, I'm Lia.
And I'm AK.
And this is our channel where we talk about property, business, and working together as a couple.
Now this is a property which we sourced for somebody that we know, and so the asking price was £160,000 and the offer made on this particular property was £160,000.
And as you can imagine, the offer was accepted. So I'll put up some pictures now on screen of what the property looked like at the time of purchase. So as you can see, it's very basic and tidy, nothing needs doing, no crazy refurbishments here. The seller's gone for a very no-nonsense approach of white walls and grey carpet. So perhaps indicating that this might have been a rental before the sale.
Now the buyer was specifically looking for something that needed zero work doing to it. So this property was absolutely perfect.
Okay, so let's break down the numbers. So the purchase price was, as we said, £160,000 and the buyer put a 25% deposit down, which was £40,000. And this money came from the buyer's own business savings.
Now the rent that is going to be achieved on this property is £900 a month. Now this is probably a couple of £100 less than what you'd get on the private open market, but we are going to explain exactly why and what this looks like in the numbers when we analyse the deal.
Our broker sorted out a 25-year interest-only mortgage for £120,000 at 4.64% fixed for 5 years on this. So to work out how much that costs you per month for an interest-only mortgage, you take the amount that you're borrowing, which is 120k here, you times it by 4.64%, that gets you 5,568, and then you divide that by 12 to find out the monthly figure of 464.
And the buildings insurance is coming in at around about £30 per month, so deducting the above costs leaves £406 per month in profit.
So there's some extra one-off fees on screen now, which showed you how much was paid for stamp duty, legals, broker fees. There was also a £180 fee for independent legal advice, which is where a company director gets a personal guarantee done for the mortgage. Now, if you're one of our usual viewers, you'll know that we usually put aside money for maintenance and management. But when you rent out to a housing association, all of those expenses actually fall on them, as well as the bills. So this is why it's a very attractive hands-off strategy for investors that don't want to get involved.
How it worked out for us sourcing this deal was that I first saw this deal on the market and I knew somebody that was looking for a deal like this that needed no work doing to it. And then I worked with that person to help them with the purchase of that property. So for example, I linked up the buyer with our broker who we work very closely with to help them do a lot of the paperwork that was needed for the mortgage as an example, as well as liaising with the local housing association to get that property rented out on a long lease.
So what this means is that this house is not going to be rented out to private tenants. It is going to be rented by a housing association, which are non-profit organisations that provide affordable housing to individuals and families in need.
One of the main questions people ask about social housing as a strategy, they ask if it's risky, are the tenants going to trash the house is probably the most common question. The main benefit to this type of strategy is that you are signing a contract with either the council or a housing association that essentially means that they are your tenant. And as your tenant, they will have to sign a contract that stipulates if there's any damages done to the property, that they will take care of it. The property is meant to be returned to you as it was given to them in the first place.
So what AK is saying there is that your tenant on the AST contract is the housing association or the council. It's not the vulnerable person themselves that might be living in the property.
Yeah, and I think that's a really significant differentiation. So you are setting up a professional contract with a professional body, essentially. So let's talk a little bit about the tax implications that, again, a lot of people ask us about.
Yeah, it's not as straightforward as saying that 20% or 40% of this income immediately gets taxed due to the structure of this purchase. So this house was bought in a limited company. So the money from the rent gets paid into the company account and not into the personal account of the investor that bought it. It's then up to that company director how much they want to withdraw from that business in dividends, and therefore they're more in control of how much they're getting taxed. Check out this video, which will be linked up in the cards, where we talk more in depth about tax.
Please leave us a comment below if you think that this video has been valuable to you. We do think it's super important to do the number breakdown on live projects that are happening right now in 2024. Because from our experience, when we started in property, we used to see a lot of deals that were done sort of 5 to 10 years ago. And it's not necessarily the most accurate, which is why we try our utmost to make sure that we are showing you deals that are happening right now.
For sure. We're never going to show you a deal that was done pre-COVID. Probably because we didn't do any deals pre-COVID,
Yeah,
but also they're just not helpful for you, especially if you're just starting out. You need to be learning from data right now, not old stuff.
So if you're watching this, you might be somebody with £40,000 in your savings and you're wondering, what should I do with it? Well, this particular approach is very hands-off, right? It's making you £400 a month instead of just looking at it in your bank account. So it's a very realistic deal that you might be able to do.
Or you might be watching this video and you might not have £40,000 in your savings to throw into a deal like this, but you might be thinking, I want to be charging people a fee to find them deals like what AK's just found for our client. We've got a video on our channel which is all about sourcing, which we will link up in the cards, which hopefully will help you. Now, housing associations. There are hundreds of housing associations in the UK. If you want a spreadsheet that I've put together with all the housing association names and the area that they are working in, then please click on the link in our description and sign up to our newsletter so you can get that straight to your inbox.
And do not forget to subscribe to our channel if you want to start or elevate your property journey. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.